Bit of bloody tissue stuck on my finger. I don't even know. It's not tissue, it's... Hello everybody and welcome to the United Stand. I hope you're doing really well this morning. It's exciting. Did you know that Manchester United are playing in the Champions League tonight? Not many clubs can say that, especially not certain North London ones that were playing on Sunday. But yes, big game tonight. Want to talk about that. Want to talk a little bit about some more silly comments around Donny van der Beek. Also want to talk about Telles and whether he's going to be fit tonight. But very, very excited about the game tonight. Big game. And a big challenge for Manchester United, which is what I always think is a good thing. Can I just do a big shout out to Tom Brown as well, who won the Boohoo Man £800 voucher. You can get onto that, Tom. You've been contacted, as you know, £800 to spend at Boohoo Man. He won the voucher that we were giving away. The competition was on the Chelsea game. So well done to Tom Brown. Big shout out at the start of the show. But let's shout out to Adama Traore as well. That's going to be our story to start off the show with. Manchester United looking at a potential swoop for Adama Traore in January. Now, this story originated, to be fair, from Talk Sport. So, look, Talk Sport, talk nonsense, some people say. But there is. I mean, Adama Traore is an interesting one. And it's interesting because I saw that, and I want to talk about the Leipzig game, and I really want to talk about this Van der Beek thing and get your interest, but get your opinion on it. But Adama Traore, I mean, the Dortmund coach was talking, Favre, however you pronounce it, about Sancho and basically admitting that the unsettlement of the Manchester United potential transfer may well be having an impact on his start to the season. He hasn't started the season very well. He didn't play particularly well for England. And, you know, Manchester United's priority is Jadon Sancho. That's basically the bottom line. That's what any good source will tell you at the moment. Manchester United's priority is still Jadon Sancho. I'm somewhat tired by that priority because the priority for Jadon Sancho has been the priority for the last 18 months and we still didn't get him when he was on a plate. So I'm somewhat not interested in our priority being Jadon Sancho because I don't understand how we would do that deal now and not be able to do it in the summer. So I think United do need to look at alternatives. I don't think that Sancho will look at United with particularly hungry eyes at the moment. And I don't think Manchester United will have the money to buy Jadon Sancho next summer like they didn't have it this summer. So I think United do need to look at alternatives. And I think Adama Traore is a very interesting one. Not for one main reason at the moment being he's not actually being picked for Wolves. There was a comment that came out from Traore about 3 months before the summer. I think it was just before COVID, where he openly was talking about potentially moving, or his agent was. So I certainly think there is an ambition from Traore to move on to a bigger club, with all due respect to Wolves. He's 25 in January. But the most interesting thing for me about Adama Traore, before anybody writes him off, is that he is, when you look at him statistically, and I'm not a big one for stats, but for a right winger, this is quite important. The amount of assists he gets and the amount of success he has in one-on-one situations makes him one of the best in Europe. I think last season he was in the top 5 across the top 5 European leagues for assists and take-on success. Well, we're looking for a right winger who can do those two things in the Premier League. Hello, there's one player playing in the Premier League right now. His name's Adama Traore. And he's Premier League proven, and you'd probably get him for half the price of Jadon Sancho. So, on that sense, it's very interesting. And obviously, he's not playing for Wolves at the moment because he doesn't fit the Wolves system, where they tend to play with a back 5 and 2 up front. So they're not. They've tried him at wing back. They've got Semedo. So it doesn't really work. It doesn't really work. And Poison Dwarf says an oiled Traore is better than Sancho. I mean, look. I don't want to dwell on this for too long because it's a story for you to think on a little bit. But potentially he'd be available in January. Potentially you'd get him for about 50 million quid. And potentially he wants to go. And potentially Wolves want to let him go. And also Liverpool and Man City are rumoured to be interested as well. There is nothing, absolutely nothing, to say that this would be a bad deal for Manchester United to do. But Manchester United seem to still be dwelling on the Sancho deal. And whether we could get this deal done or not, I don't know. What I would say about Adama Traore is there's something that I just don't feel's quite right about him as a player. And I don't know what it is. I don't know whether it's his big arms or what. No, I don't. I mean, seriously, there is something that just makes me think. But I don't know what it is. Because actually, he is quick. He gets assists. He's very good on the take-on. And as a specialist right winger, he's exactly what you would want. I mean, he's in my FIFA 21 side, isn't he? To be fair, so I do like him and I do rate him. I just there's just something that holds me back, and I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the myth of inconsistency. I don't know, because he has been very consistent. But it'd be interesting. I just think that for Manchester United, the obsession with Jadon Sancho probably needs to end and end soon. I don't think we can just. I mean, look, does it suit Manchester United to keep saying Jadon Sancho is the priority, and then you don't get him? That's what I'm saying. There are alternatives out there. Of course, we've got Palestri. We've also got another Traore and Amad Traore from Atalanta. Has he played any? Has he even been on the bench for Atalanta yet? He's not coming to us till January, but he's not even getting on the bench for Atalanta. So, are these players going to be ready right here, right now? No. So that United need a right winger for right here, right now. Shout out to my brave wife Jane. Egg Collection says Luke82. Thank you very much for the super chat. And I would take Grealish and Adama, says Eric Angle. Valencia was very good for many years, says Francisco. I mean, I think Adama Traore is better than Valencia, to be honest. Adama would be a fantastic signing if we cannot get Sancho. Generally, I think that's what a lot of people are talking about. And Amad Traore was on the bench yesterday. I like Traore, says Nosik. We've been doing better with cheaper transfers that fill a specific role. Huge fee ones like Pogba, Maguire and Lukaku haven't worked. Well, look, we'll see if there's something in it. He's not playing for Wolves. He's Premier League proven. He's the right age. He's probably the right price. He's got the right profile. Let's see. I personally don't think we, for somebody who was all over the Sancho deal and felt we were going to do it, I just don't think we're going to do that now. I don't think we're going to do that. I'd be very happy if we did. I don't think we're going to do that. And I think you need to look at alternatives. And I think he, at the moment, is probably one of the number one alternatives out there because he ticks a lot of boxes about availability, price, and Premier League proven. And also, can I be absolutely honest on Jadon Sancho? He's played pretty poorly for a long time. Like, he's not played well for about 4 months, really. If you've been watching him, he hasn't. So, would you want to go and spend £100 million on someone like that at the moment? He was on the bench yesterday for Atalanta, says Stego. Good. Right, well, let's talk. Did you know that Manchester United are playing RB Leipzig tonight? Well, I do, and I hope you do as well. We'll have the watch along for you this evening. Looking forward to that. And have you listened to the Muppet podcast and United saving now, as we know Sancho will be cheaper next summer with little competition as others have spent this summer and will penny pinch next summer, says Aditya. I haven't seen that, but I don't agree with it, Aditya, because I don't think United have saved their money at all. I think United have saved their money to spend on dividends and stuff. I don't think we've got £100 million waiting to spend next summer when COVID will hit teams even harder. I don't think we've got that money next summer. I don't. Maybe that's part of the plan, but I don't. And I hope I'm wrong. I'm worried that Adama Traore and Amad Traore may cause some confusion amongst the fans. On a serious note, Adama is overrated, says Benjamin Anderson. But how can you be overrated when in the Premier League you are pretty much number one for take-ons and you pretty much number one for assists? How can you be overrated when you're delivering at what you're meant to be, what we want in a right winger? What do you want in a right winger? I want a right winger who is skillful and can provide for our striker. Well, hello. Jimenez can be Cavani. Jimenez can be Martial. Adama Traore can be providing the goals for them. So I don't think he's overrated. He's probably overrated in what you want him to be. I mean, Sancho's got the skills. He's got the skills. But has Sancho got the assists and the take-on ability? Yes, he has. But so's Adama in the Premier League. That's what I'm saying. For half the price, you get a player that does a role. Maybe, all right, he's not the high profile, but he could do a role. Salivating at the thoughts of beasts Adama and Upamecano playing for us. Brute steel and strength apart from top grade skills, says Abik. Well, I'm glad I spoke about it then, because it's obviously a topic that's got people talking. JT says Telles was not in training. Now, I've got to put my hands up here. I'm not always right, as you know. I saw a picture yesterday of a compilation of Manchester United training, and I saw a picture of Telles training. It may well be that that training was not yesterday. Obviously, I saw it on Twitter, and it may not be the case. So I was under the understanding that Telles was fit to play today. Some people seem to think he wasn't training yesterday. If he wasn't training yesterday, then he won't be playing tonight, will he? But and that means Luke Shaw will play. Ollie will still play Dan James over Adama Avesh. But what I did want to talk about tonight today a little bit is I want to talk about the game tonight, but I just want to talk about this comment that I saw from Owen Hargreaves last night. Again, another ex-player who they have this huge platform, and look, I'm not saying the United stand's not a huge platform. If I read you out, you've got a few thousand people reading what you're saying, and I'm talking and people are listening. I'm very aware of that, and it's very obvious that a lot of what I say is opinion. Sometimes it's not opinion, sometimes it's fact. But I just think that I'm really frustrated by the lack of knowledge about Donny van der Beek. I even tweeted somebody this morning. Let me just tell you what the tweet was about, because you might agree with the tweet. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm not saying I'm right on this, but there's two examples here. So here's the tweet from last night. Goldbridge stating another... here we go. Goldbridge starting another of his brainwashing exercises, telling his viewers that Donny van der Beek can play as a DM or on the wings. His best position is a 10 false 9 for anybody wondering. And I replied and said, Donny van der Beek spent most of his career as a right-sided number 8 and without doubt is more than capable of playing multiple positions. It's not brainwashing, it's knowing for a fact he's not a number 10. And this is the dangerous thing. You've got people on social media and you've got people in the public eye, ex-players, spouting nonsense about Donny van der Beek. We spoke about this in depth yesterday. If you're playing him at number 10 and you look at his career, he doesn't get that many goals and assists comparable to a De Bruyne or a Bruno or any other, or a Havertz or someone like that. Donny van der Beek can play as an attacking midfielder, but as your number 10 to create and score goals, that is not his best position. Donny van der Beek, as a heat map in his career, plays to the right-hand side in a number 8 position. That is Donny van der Beek, and I'm bored of people trying to tell us he's a number 10, this is his best position. If his best position was a number 10, then why has he not got loads of goals and assists? Because he's not a number 10. He's a box-to-box, right-hand side attacking midfielder. When we bought Donny van der Beek, for me, it was about providing competition to Pogba and Bruno in a midfield 3, because that's what we were playing towards the end of last season. Now, we've moved away from that, but that's what Donny van der Beek is. He can also, if Juan Mata, who is a centre attacking midfielder and plays on the right-hand side, he can play that role. He can definitely do a better job than Dan James on the left-hand side. And I think Donny van der Beek could be moulded into a holding midfielder in a midfield 2, which is what we're playing at the moment. So that's what I'm talking about. I've always said he's not a CDM. Do I think he could play as a CDM in a holding 2? Yes, because you've got, Fred and McTominay, the job they're doing, it's not rocket science what they're doing. I'm telling you now. To do CDM on your own, like Matic does, or Fabinho does, or Kante's done, or Ndidi does, that's a specialist position. To be in a holding 2, bloody hell, you've got someone holding your hand for a start, So I think Donny van der Beek could do that role in a holding 2 because he's got somebody there with him. Fred and McTominay's job is not particularly hard when you've got 2 of them. When you do it on your own, that's when you're a proper CDM, and I don't think Donny can do that. But Owen Hargreaves last night was basically saying, I don't know why they bought Donny van der Beek, because he plays in the position that Bruno and Pogba does. Hello! It's literally 2 months ago that we were playing in a Europa League semi-final and Bruno and Pogba were playing with Fred in a midfield 3, and we literally couldn't take them off because nobody else can do the job of Pogba and Bruno. That's why we bought Donny van der Beek, because we were playing a midfield 3 and Pogba and Bruno were getting tired, and when we had to take them off for Pereira or Lingard or Mata, the drop-off was off a cliff. That's why we bought Donny van der Beek, was so that over a big season or a loss in form or somebody's not quite fit, you play Donny van der Beek in the midfield 3. That's why we bought him. And I think, everybody's looking for an angle at the moment to say, oh, what did we buy Donny van der Beek for? My angle is, and I think a lot of your angle is, why did we buy him to not let him have a chance? The mistake was not in buying him. The mistake is in buying him and then not giving him a chance over others who've already had numerous chances. McTominay, Fred, Mata, Dan James, whatever you think about those players, they have had at least a year of chances. Donny's had none. That's the mistake. Buying him was absolutely correct. He's exactly the sort of player that we needed to bring in to provide quality in the midfield beyond what we thought was our starting 3 of Matic, Bruno and Pogba. Now, for some reason, Ollie's moved away from that midfield 3, and in some ways that doesn't help Donny, but he can definitely play a multitude of positions, and you've got to be very careful about what's being put out there in the media, because they are wrong. Oh, he's a number 10. Oh, why did they buy him? They don't know. They don't know anything about this player, and it's very easy. I mean, look, if you want to find out about Donny van der Beek in the space of a few minutes, just type in Donny van der Beek Ajax scout report, and it would tell you everything about him. The article might be a year old, but you will find out everything about him without this manipulated myth that's being perpetuated around Donny van der Beek at the moment in this United bubble. Thoughts on Evra's comments on Van der Beek, says Kay. I'm not aware of any of his new ones. Hi Mark, I love the show. I hope we don't play the 4-2-3-1 tonight. Don't get Ollie's obsession with wingers when one of them is Mata, who is not a winger, and the other is James, who is not good on the wing, says Alec. Thank you, Alec. And Donny's been through the Ajax Academy where they teach every player to play in all positions. That is why those players are like all-rounders. Shanuk, if I could stand up and applaud you, which I actually can... That is the comment. That is the comment. I mean, people, it's been at Ajax. Go and have a look at the Ajax Academy and how they develop players. And Shalyuk is absolutely right. It's about playing multiple positions. It's about, the two most important fundamentals at Ajax Football Club are passing and pressing. It's the two Ps, not Paul Pogba. It's passing and pressing. That's what it's all about. Passing and pressing. And he's come through that. And you've got plonkers out there telling you that Donny van der Beek can only play as a number 10. Absolute football idiocy. Like, he can play probably most positions in our team in the midfield better than most of the players that we've got because he's an intelligent footballer. I always wanted Adama Traore. He's a beast, runs so fast, and unlike James, can actually take on players and put in a cross. I'd be glad if we signed him, says Reflection. And Mark, you owe me a new cat. Tested your theory that cats always land on their feet. Now I don't have a cat anymore. 'Twas a noble end, says Joshua Bowerwater. Well, Joshua, you didn't listen. I said if you hold a cat up from a certain height, they'll always twist and land on their feet. But it gets to a point where they can't do that. It's scientifically impossible for them. Ziyech or Ferran Torres did not start much as well. Donny will get his chance. Season hasn't even started properly. Donny is a box-to-box, says Ashanu. Yeah, but the difference between... I mean, that's a poor comparison, isn't it? Because Ziyech not starting for Chelsea is to do with injury. Plus, Chelsea have got people like Pulisic and Havertz and Werner playing in their front three. We're not playing Donny, who's fit, and Ziyech hasn't been fit, behind Mata and Dan James. So you can't compare that. And again, with Man City, Torres has been fit, but they've got Bernardo Silva, Mahrez, Aguero, Jesus, Sterling. Again, we're playing Mata and Dan James. So the point doesn't really stand up, Ishanu, doesn't it? Because we haven't got the quality of players they've got to leave those players out. Van Basten says that Donny van der Beek's best position is a number 10, says Robert McCormack. Well, Van Basten's wrong. He's wrong. Like, it's all about opinion, but my point is, Robert, and I think nobody can disagree with me this, a lot of people think his position is a number 10. He's not just a number 10, even if you think he is. And actually, his career is not as a number 10 anyway. He can play multiple positions. The myth that is growing is that he's just a number 10. Go and look at the player. Go and do your research on the player. Tell me, is Donny van der Beek an assist machine? Is he a goal machine? No. So why is number 10 his best position then? Why have we paid £35 million for a number 10 who doesn't get many goals and assists? Because that's not his best position. But until we start playing him, this myth will continue. Anyway, on to the game tonight. Did you know we're playing RB Leipzig tonight? Going to be very interesting how we line up. I've seen a couple of things that sort of frustrated me a little bit this morning. One of them is this front three obsession to go back to playing Martial, Greenwood and Rashford. I don't like this. I know they were very successful last year and I know they scored over 55 goals. But what we've seen this season is almost like we've been figured out. Teams know to press as high up the pitch. Greenwood doesn't track back effectively and help Wan-Bissaka out, and Rashford doesn't seem to track back anymore. He used to. He doesn't track back anymore and help out the left back. So you've got a front three that don't do their defensive work, and on top of that, you've got a front three where the wide players don't contribute in relation to creativity. Greenwood and Rashford are very much individualistic talents. They don't create much for people in the box. So I don't think the front three works. I think it makes us weak defensively, and it's not creative enough. So I want to see United utilising the strength in that team, and the strength in that team is the options we've got in the midfield. The diamond is really, really important. And for anybody who says, well, we've tried the diamond, it doesn't work. These are professional footballers. We spoke about Donny van der Beek being part of the system of Ajax where you can play multiple positions. Well, these are very, very good technical professional footballers. It's not you can't say a system doesn't work and blame it on the players. If a system doesn't work, that comes down to bad coaching. If you can't get if you can't get 11 players who are highly paid professional footballers, internationals, the vast majority of them, to play a system, then that's a failing on you as a coach. It's not you can't say I'm not playing the diamond because it doesn't work. Well, it doesn't work because you can't get it to work. I wasn't a fan of the diamond, and I've spoke about that quite recently, but what I have seen is that we don't defend well in the 4-3-3, and that's why we concede a lot of possession and goals. And also, we don't create enough going forward to justify a front three. So I think it needs to be a front two with an extra man in the midfield, and we need to play either a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-4-2 in a diamond. And that's what I want to see tonight. I don't want to see this 4-3-3 because I don't think, especially because we didn't get Sancho, Greenwood and Rashford are not the wide players that we need. And I think it's almost like playing with 10 men because we lose a midfielder and we lose creativity. So I want to see a front two, and I want to see the midfield a little bit, well, like I said in the preview, I want to see a diamond. I want to see one holding, two box-to-box, and Bruno as the attacking midfielder. But I also saw people talking about Axel Tuanzebe as a right-back and resting Wan-Bissaka. I really don't want to see this. I don't know where people think about this. And Aditya says, I hope Axel starts, but if Ollie played Axel against Chelsea and he got injured, he would have been crucified in the media. He needs to be slowly integrated. Well, I sort of agree with that. But then Maguire was brought back and he's not fully fit. So it's cum si cum sa, isn't it? The United stand is the only thing good about United at the moment. I've actually given up on transfers. I don't believe in these stories anymore. By the way, Don is starting today, says Shiham Sunda. And I hope Donny van der Beek does start. And don't write this off straight away. Give it some thought. Can we do a Kimmich Lahm on it and put Shaw in at CDM? It utilises his defensive capabilities, although they're questionable, and let Tellez in at left back, says Sean Donahue. I don't write it off, Sean, but I'd say the same thing about putting Daley Blind at CDM, and I think he'd be far better at it than Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw's too left-footed to play at CDM. I think if you're going to play as a CDM, you might have a stronger foot, but you've got to have some balance on your weaker foot. And I think that Luke Shaw doesn't have a right foot, so I don't think he'd make a good CDM, to be honest. Hi, Mark. City's bench can on its own be a Premier League team, and here we are, the biggest club on earth, cribbing about the depth we are trying to create for positions. Who should be blamed for this lack of ruthlessness, says Chinmay K. Well, I still think that we can't offload a lot of the deadwood, Manchester United, and I don't think that's on Ollie, to be fair. But going back to that Tuanzebe point, I would hate to see him playing at right back tonight, because it's this thing, it's that comment of last week that Ollie said after the PSG game, Axel can play in numerous positions. No, don't turn him into Wes Brown or John O'Shea. Don't do that. He's our best centre-back, I think. He has the potential to be our best centre-back. It should be Tuanzebe and Maguire or Lindelof, not Tuanzebe at right-back, so you can keep making the mistake of Maguire and Lindelof. Maguire and Lindelof will have good games. They had good games last year, but they are not a top four centre-back pairing. I know we got third last year, so I've sort of defeated my own point there, but you know what I mean. That's their ceiling. Third place is their ceiling, and we were only, 3 points off finishing fifth. It wasn't like a dominant top four performance. You know, you finish fifth enough, you might slip into the top four, and I think that's what happened with us last year. We won't be top four if we keep playing Maguire and Lindelof. He's got to stop this mindset of Tuanzebe being a utility player now. He is the player to build our defence around. He's got to be our centre-back. No putting him to right back. I don't want to see versatility Tuanzebe. I don't want to see that. I want to see Tuanzebe built as a centre-back and becoming our best centre-back with his pace and power and ability. I don't want to see him at right back, and I'm worried. I said it a week ago. I'm worried that Ollie is already dropping hints about him being, he can play CDM, he can play centre-back, he can play right back. Players like that, anybody who's longer in the tooth like me will know, players who have that utility end up being utility players, and they don't get a first team slot. Phil Neville was like it, Wes Brown was like it, John O'Shea was like it. You do not want to be you do need utility players, you do, and I'd like to see Fosu Mensah become that, but I don't want Tuanzebe to become it. I want him to be centre-back, centre-back and centre-back, because I think he's better than Maguire, and I think he's better than Lindelof if he can stay fit and he is given the chance to grow in that position. So I want to see Tuanzebe at centre-back. I'm a little bit concerned that we might see him become something else. I mean, Gills Warrior says, Milner says hello. Look, no, there is no doubt that utility players are very good, but do you want Tuanzebe to become a Milner or a Wes Brown or a John O'Shea? Master of all, jack of all trades, master of none. No, I want him to be our centre-back. I want him to be our Van Dijk. I want him to be our Laporte. I want him to be our best centre-back, and I think he can become that. So I get a little bit worried when I see about, he can play in multiple positions. Well, what worries you most about Leipzig? I'm not very confident if they play their high press and we would start slow off mark. The game could easily stray away from us very quickly if we don't start quick, says Big Man. Well, that excites me, Big Man. That does excite me, though, because I know that Leipzig are a very energetic side. Nagelsmann himself was speaking last night about he looks at the weaknesses of an opposition and tries to exploit them early on. Well, look, you know the weaknesses of Manchester United as much as I do. Our weakness is our centre-backs and the lack of pace there. So that's what I would be getting at if I was Leipzig. And we could see a back five tonight. We could see a back five at home to Leipzig. That would be, in my opinion, very cowardly. But again, it would show that Ollie... Look, I spoke to Robbie the other day. I said, I think if you want to get a bet on, it's going to be a draw because you're going to play a back five and we're probably going to play a back five. And it will just be about trying to nick a result instead of trying to win from our side again. And we might do that tonight. I hope we're not going to do that. But they will be energetic. They will be good on the ball. And I think it's a real opportunity to go and do what we did to PSG last week and send a statement out. That PSG result was a very, very good tactical performance from Solskjaer and United, and tonight's an opportunity to do that as well. I just hope we don't put the white flag up early and say let's keep it tight, let's put Scotty and Fred in front of the back four again, let's try and hit them on the break. Let's try and be a bit expansive. Martial can't play again at the weekend, so let's provide him. He's not, and also Martial's not scored in bloody ages. He's not scored in ages because he's playing in a team that's not creating much again. Let's start creating. Robert McCormack says if Tuanzebe becomes a 10th of Milner, I'd be happy. But Robert, they're totally... the James Milner comment is only relevant because James Milner's a very good utility player. There is absolutely no comparison between James Milner and Tuanzebe. Milner started as a striker. Tuanzebe is a centre-back. Milner is not particularly quick. Tuanzebe is. They're different players. I don't want Tuanzebe to be a utility player at Manchester United. I really, really don't. I think he's too good for that. And I think that I want to see him at centre-back. And he's like Benjamin says, he's our best centre-back. Twandini, says Peter. It'd be interesting to see what happens. But look, Ollie has mentioned about utility player. Not directly utility player, but be able to play a few roles, and I don't want to see that. But what I would say about the game tonight, and look, be interesting to see what you've got to say about this. I think that Bruno's got to play tonight. I think I've heard people talking about let's play Donny van der Beek at number 10. Well, if he plays there, I'm very excited, but it's not really his position. But Bruno's got to play. I don't know. I'm not understanding what about this game is a game to rest players. I don't get that. I think the Turkish game next week could be a game to rest players, but I don't think anything. I don't know. This is not a game to rest players. I don't get that angle. Am I missing something? Do you think it's a game to rest players? Because that PSG result nullifies itself if we don't get a good result tonight. I think that I said this yesterday. If we lose to Leipzig tonight, I think we're in trouble of getting out of the group again, because I think PSG at Old Trafford will be very hard, and then you've got to go to Germany. If PSG beat Leipzig a couple of times and Leipzig beat us a couple of times, we're going out of the group. So we've got to win. We've got to win tonight. We certainly can't afford to lose tonight. So why would you go into this game and go, this is a good game to rest players? I think you've got to go strong and you've got to try and get a result. And I think we can get a result, but I'd be looking to pick my strongest team. I would. I'd be looking to pick my strongest team tonight, and I'd be looking to get some momentum. And to be honest with you, I don't think we've picked our strongest team for a long, long time. I don't think we've picked our strong. I can't remember the last game we picked our strongest team. I don't think he picked his strongest team in the Europa League because Luke Shaw wasn't there in the Europa League final. So I'm talking months. I think we've got to start picking our strongest team, and maybe we don't know what our strongest team is, or maybe more accurately, we don't know what Ollie's strongest team is. What if Ollie's strongest team is the team he picked against Chelsea? So we need to pick our strongest team because we're never going to get... Consistency is always going to be the word. Consistency is the word. United need to find, establish and lock down. The only way you're going to get consistency is by picking your strongest team. If I told you what Liverpool's strongest team is, you'd reel it out in a minute. If I asked you for Pep's strongest team at City, you'd pretty much reel it out in a minute. If I ask you for Man United's strongest team, all you're going to reel out is what your strongest team is. You don't know what Ollie's is. I don't know what it is. And that's not good, because any side that's ever won the Premier League, or any side that's pretty much been in the top 4, you would be able to tell me what their strongest team is, give or take 1 or 2 players. I don't think you can tell me what Ollie's strongest team is, and I think if you did, you might end up crying because it's not going to be what you want. So we need to establish it. And Matthew says we know it. I'd love to know it. I mean, at the moment, I think the evidence would suggest his strongest team is the one that he sent out against Chelsea, because he's going system over players. And as I said yesterday, I don't like this system bullshit. It's rubbish. It's absolutely about sending players out that you know will do the job for you, because you can't get the better players to do the job. The best managers have a system with their best players in it. It's a failing as a coach if you can't play your best players and the system that you want. You can't just pick a system with players that do as they're told. You know, people who bring you an apple every morning. You've got to play that system with the better players, with the flamboyant players, with the not so easy to manage players, because they are brilliant players. And that's what he needs to do. He needs his best players in his best system. That's what I want to see from Ollie, and it needs to start tonight. So I'm very excited about it, and I hope it's going to be a good game. Anyway, look, lots of people watching. Big day ahead. Excited. Make sure you subscribe if you're new, because we're only 5 subscribers away from 886,000. So please subscribe if you're new. Bottom right-hand corner. Smash a like on the video. If you're looking for a bit of excitement this afternoon, don't get too excited. I'm not meeting you in a park or anything like that. That's not me. If you're looking for a bit of excitement this afternoon, I am playing a Champions League final. Manchester United against Bayern Munich, FIFA 21, Manchester United career mode. Just type in Mark Goldbridge, that's football. You'll see the episode from yesterday. Going to be live at about half 2 for that. Would love your support. We had about 11,000 watching for the semi-final. If you didn't see it, go and check it out. It was very, very tense against Atletico Madrid. So the final is at 2:30 this afternoon, live streaming on Mark Goldbridge, that's football. And then, of course, we're back tonight at about 7 o'clock for team news, all the way through till full time. Good day of football. Looking forward to it. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Love all the chats. Love all the opinion. This is what it's all about. And remember, this is what it's all about. Champions League football, big games, and big decisions and opinions. This is what the United stand's all about. This is what Manchester United should be all about. We're not meant to agree. We're just meant to be passionate, and we're just meant to back what we think. So if you think Donny van der Beek's a right back, you crack on. You crack on. And we'll all have the conversation. Swoop for the final. You'll see at 2:30, Sartik. Thanks for watching. Speak to you in a bit.